Okay, here we are. I tried recording this video earlier on my phone and it didn't work at all. So I'm now leaving Walmart. I just bought a brand new GoPro. Hopefully this works out a little bit better. So the title of this video is probably going to be something like why I'm getting rid of my Ecoboost Mustang 2 weeks after owning it, or why you shouldn't buy the Ecoboost Mustang or something. And I want to explain, because the thing about this car is it's very polarizing. You either really like Mustangs and you like this car, or you absolutely hate Mustangs and you especially hate Ecoboost owners, which this is what this is. This is a 2017 Mustang Ecoboost. I bought this with about 45,000 miles on it. I bought this with about 45,000 miles on it. I put about 1,000 miles on it in the span of about 2 weeks. I drive a lot for work. This car is a lot of fun. It really is. It's a lot of fun. But there's a few reasons why, if you're considering this because you can't afford the GT or you like the Ecoboost platform, I'll tell you why I would just go ahead and skip it. And the number one reason why, and I know this is a really bad reason in general, it just is the stigma. There is a huge stigma to owning one of these cars. There's a stigma to owning Mustangs in general, let alone Ecoboost or V6. It is everywhere you go. You know, you hear the jokes, you hear the whatever. Like when I first bought this car, I told everybody, hey, I bought a Mustang. And the first question was always, is it the GT? No. Well, why? Why didn't you get the GT? Well, if anybody knew how much more expensive it was to get a GT in general, and not to mention the insurance on it, they would understand why a lot of people opt for these Ecoboosts. Now, I live in Dallas, Texas, and there are a lot of Ecoboosts around here. I see very few GTs, and I suspect that's because of the traffic. They're eco-friendly, they get really good gas mileage, and they're just fun enough to make it feel like a Mustang. But if you are considering one of these, I would maybe instead opt for a BMW or an Audi, a little bit older maybe, because if you're gonna get a Mustang, honestly, just save up for the GT, unless you are like, you really like the Ecoboost platform and you really want the Ecoboost for some reason, which that's totally cool if that's what you want to do, but you're gonna catch a lot of crap from a lot of people for it. And I know that's a bad reason and it's vain, whatever, but it's the truth. This is the first new car that I have ever bought. Oh man. I say new and it's not really new. It's got 40,000 miles on it. It's new to me. I've never owned anything this new before. In fact, this was my first ever big car purchase. Now, that's pretty much the short of the video. No, just missed my exit. That's pretty much it. Now, I personally have some other issues. If you want to keep watching, I will explain why I specifically am getting rid of this specific Ecoboost. And that is because When I bought this car, I pretty much bought it sight unseen. I saw it on the dealership website. I scheduled a test drive, got there, and they told me that I couldn't drive it. And that's because recently, and part of the reason why I just made this car purchase, is because I just moved across the entire country. Like 1,500 miles across the country from up north. And for work, I got a really nice job at a new place, making a lot more money, so I decided I wanted something nice for myself. So the reason they wouldn't let me test drive it was because I had an out-of-state driver's license. I had an out-of-state driver's license, they wouldn't let me drive it. So I was like, whatever, they have a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you don't like the car, you can return it. So I was like, all right, I'll just buy it. I did my research. It's what I wanted. So I'm like, I'll get it. So I did. And I drove it home. Was absolutely terrified of the car. This car is very, very quick for what it is. And it really is a lot of fun. It's very sporty, and it's the fastest thing I've ever owned. But when, about a week after I owned it, I took it to a power wash to get it cleaned, and I was spraying the front bumper and I heard a pop. I went around the other side and I see that half of my bumper where it meets the fender is actually completely separated, which is just absolutely fantastic. Makes me real happy. I texted my rep at the dealership and I said, hey, you know, what's up with this? You guys told me this car, I thought for sure it had been in an accident. I'm like, this looks really bad. Like, there's no way that a power washer could do this. You know, so what's the deal? What's going on? And the guy at the dealership was pretty much like, well, it doesn't matter. We can get it fixed for free regardless of what happened or why. I was still under warranty, and it had only been a week, and it was in pretty good faith that it wasn't something that I personally did. So I decided, I was like, you know what? I just want to return the car. I don't want it. It's a really nice car. It's a lot of fun. But I would rather have something different. It's not the color I want. It's silver, which every grease spot, dust, everything is going to show up really bad. This is the fully loaded, like, premium interior, shaker sound system, whatever. It's a cool car, don't get me wrong. But I thought, you know what? I'm just going to bite the bullet and get a GT. So I told them, I'm like, no, I think I want to return it. I just don't want the car. You know, I want a GT. And they were like, okay, you know, sure, whatever. You know, we'll get it going. I ended up ordering a GT. And when I did, I fully expected to pay a lot more money for it. And I did, but nowhere near as much as I was expecting. I mean, yeah, it was probably about $10,000 more than this car specifically for a base model interior. So that does suck a little bit. Oh boy, there's a lot of people in the parking garage tonight. I'm pulling in my house, sorry, or my condo, I should say. Anyway, it wasn't really all that much more. It just wasn't. I think, yes, it was 10 grand more, but it's less than $100 more a month to finance, and the insurance really isn't that big of a difference that I would care anyway. So that being said, I just wanted to make this video. It's probably a little bit long. You probably haven't stuck around. That's fine. But yeah, that's why I would skip on the Ecoboost. Honestly, I know maybe that's not a good enough reason, but peace.